High school teachers of Reddit. What is the one thing that you want your students to know that you'd never tell them in person? When you think you are being genius by getting me to talk about random things at the beginning of class instead of teaching, I'm really allowing it to happen. See, I don't have enough plan to cover a full class. I knew you were cheating, so I gave you a test with the answers in a different order for the rest of the semester. You clearly weren't very bright to figure it out. And yes, I am that spiteful. It was easier than reporting the cheating. One day you're going to come across people who are not being paid to tolerate you. And all of a sudden life is going to become considerably more difficult. I encourage my worst kids as much or more than my favorites, because I don't want them back in my class next year. If you're jacking off in class, we can tell that we have much better hearing than you assume. We just choose our battles as it pertains to inappropriate comments. And sometimes I pretend not to see that thing you did just because I too found it humorous. And speaking to you about it would only result in me cracking up. If you're going to eat in class, stop staring at me while you're doing it. You're ratting yourself out. I can smell you. Everyone can. Please, for the love of God, use deodorant. That it's just as weird for me as it is for you when we bump into each other in public. You know what, Jono? You're a little cunt. Gold. Twice. Thanks, guys. I don't care that you came to class stoned. Just stop interrupting class. And for God's sake, don't touch any power tools while you're stoned. The weed smell doesn't magically disappear between the parking lot and my classroom this year. Yes, I do have favorite students. No, I won't tell you who they are because that would discourage you. But yes, they're probably who you imagine them to be. If I didn't think you would abuse the situation, I would really enjoy being more human and casual around you. I think you are a fun person to be around. My gamer tag. I usually say there's a policy against it, but there isn't. I just don't want to play Overwatch or whatever with a bunch of relatively good kids who turn into total monsters when they play video games. If I tell the cool ones, it'll get around. I can definitely hear the horrible things you are saying. Yes, I see that you are on the other side of the room this year. I may be old to you, but I am certainly not deaf. Also, that teenage boy is definitely going to buy you a Big Mac in exchange for oral sex. 100 out 100 times. I hate the texts as much as you do, but everyone just shrugs when I suggest changing them up. I'm sorry they made us keep that awful after book on the list. I genuinely offered to buy them all back from students so I could burn the waste of time that they are. I'm a bus driver. Sit the F***ck down, you will die if I crash. Please stop drooling in the classrooms, that's what the bathrooms are for. I actually teach middle school rather than high school, but I'll play. I love them a whole bunch. I do actually tell them this. That's not the thing, but goddamn every single middle schooler is an asshole. Like, even the best ones. They're all assholes. You can't help it at that age. Part of the process of being a good middle school teacher is accepting the assholishness and figuring out ways to work with it. Don't worry, guys. Your peers and you will stop being assholes soon. Most of you, anyway. Also, all the things you think your parents and teachers don't know about, we do. We've done it all. We just would prefer not to think about you doing it because you're much too young. A lot of us probably drink, smoke, sleep around, etc. more than you do. And hearing you talking about it and trying to hide it, as if it's something we wouldn't know about, is richly ironic. I can see who you have a crush on in the classroom this year. You're unique. You're not special. Set your goals high, but understand that if you change your goals to needs, you will have a lifetime of disappointment. If your parents email a teacher and argue with them, the whole staff knows, at least at my school, that my students are the reason why I am second-guessing having my own kids. One of the most valuable lessons I can teach you is to fake looking busy. If we're supposed to be working on an assignment or reading or whatever, and you see me coming your way, at the least have a piece of paper on your desk, and a pen in your hand and some sh*t on your paper. And then I won't bother you. If you have nothing going on and can't even be bothered to make it look like you're trying, I'm heading your way. This lesson will be invaluable with eventual bosses someday. That I lied to you when I said I was 40. I was actually only 21 and I was only a couple of years older than you. I've seen you at the club and I've seen you partying. Furthermore, I have run into you in public way more times than you realize. But half the time I run away. The other half the time you catch me before I can. Also, when I was at the mall, the guy you pointed to and asked me if he was my boyfriend was just a random Tinder date I just met. He was definitely not my boyfriend. I love these posts because the comments are generally well formatted. Thanks, teachers. Your sense of entitlement is most likely acquired from your upbringing. So parent-teacher conferences to discuss your grades aren't going to do sh*t when the parents just blame us, despite you putting in little to zero effort. If I know your name by the third day of a new school year, that means you're probably an asshole. I don't know if there is an exact quote I'd use, but I wish I could let my students know how dumb they look sometimes, and how they need to relax and stop taking themselves so seriously. I also frequently find myself wishing I could rag on kids' clothes, hairstyles that they've obviously put way too much time, money into, but these thoughts only cross my mind when they're being assholes. That's the unprofessional, petty stuff I'd say. I could think of something much more wise. But it's my lunch break on Friday and my brain is fried from trying to keep these assholes together a week before finals. The odds of you using any specific piece of knowledge you learn in high school is slim as here. The odds of you using some piece of knowledge from high school is near absolute. And you have no idea what it's going to be or when it will happen. So you may as well try at all of it. The biggest thing you're going to learn is how to learn. One of the most memorable things a teacher said to me, I'm really glad she did say it to my face. I really like you as a person, but I hate you as a student. My French teacher told me this when I was in high school. During this period where I was really depressed and on the verge of flunking out, having her be so honest with me and pointing out that I was wasting my potential made me want to do better, and eventually I did. Yes, I put you in a group with the kid you have a crush on intentionally. I'm stuck here with you 180 days a year. I want to see some drama. I am no longer a teacher, but I remember several days that I felt lazy and wanted to give the class the day off. I never did because I knew the teacher's pet would rat me out. Sometimes even the teachers don't like the teacher's pet. If you are stupid enough to have filmed yourself doing something that can get you in trouble, especially legal trouble, for the love of God, don't post it online. You were right. The administration is completely out of touch when it comes to technology. I also work better while listening to music on my phone. Sort of late to this party, but I often want to tell my students to enjoy themselves more and worry less. And I guess I do tell them that pretty often. But what I really wish I could communicate is that it's perfectly natural to break the rules and be a little more reckless at their age. This would be pretty irresponsible of me to tell them, as kids need their teachers to be role models of good impulses, not bad impulses. But sometimes I want to. Kids today seem very frightened of the future and don't want to take chances, especially when it comes to having fun. I don't blame them based on the environments they are raised in. Also, if they have an A+ in my class, they can make a low F on the final and still wind up with an A. I used to teach English to high schoolers in France. Most of my students were really good. A few of them I would have really liked to say to their faces that they were little shish *ts and need to work on not being such douchebags. My mom would have loved to tell her classes of teenage boys that tossing yourself off before school leaves evidence for the nose and the eye. Have a wank. Have a wash. Edit yes. You smell after you've come if you don't make any effort to have at least a bit of a rinse. I teach middle school, not high school, but for me, it's that I know *T sucks at home. I see it every day when you come into my class. I see the tears you're hiding, the pain behind that class clown smile, the emotional fragility behind your tough guy persona. I know exactly what it's like to come from a broken home. I wish I could do something, but until you come to me, all I can do is try and let you know, with a look, a smile, a subtle turn of phrase, that I'm always there for you when you need an ear, or a shoulder. I'd let you get away with so much more if you were actually a decent person who treated others with kindness and respect. Assholes rarely get the benefit of doubt or indifference. Till all my teachers totally knew I was high all the time. Shit. Yelling F*** in the hallways doesn't make you a badass. Teachers are yelling F*** in their heads all day long. I would like my students to know how stupid they are. Asked them what 3 times 3 was, and they said 21. Lol guys, I'm not a real teacher and yes, I know what the 21 meme is.